All right, in this video we are going to write equations in slope-intercept form. So in our first example it says write an equation in slope-intercept form with a line that has a slope of 5 and passes through the point -2, 4. Well, I'm going to start by writing my point-slope form. And we're going to get in the habit of doing this before we go to slope-intercept form. So for point-slope form, I know it's y minus y1 equals our slope times x minus x1. If I'm doing that, we know that our slope is 5 because it says it right there. So we already have that value. I can substitute that into my formula. But we also know that this point right here, this given point that our line passes through, that's going to be our x1, y1. So when I'm filling this in, I can substitute y minus y1, which we've already established our y1 is 4. And that's going to be equal to our slope that we just found times x minus x1. And it says our x1 is going to be this -2 right here. So now my only thing is I can simplify that. And I now have y minus 4 equals 5 times, if I'm subtracting a -2, that really means I'm adding 2. So this would be our point-slope form, okay? There is point-slope form. So if I just said write an equation, that would be a perfectly good answer, okay? Now, in this problem, it says we're going to go to slope-intercept form, though. And what we know about slope-intercept form is that that's the form of y equals mx plus b. That's how our final equation should look. So our goal now is to take this and change it into this. And what you know about this is there's no parentheses here, while we have parentheses here in our point slope. And also here y is by itself. Okay, so here's how we're going to do that. Here's how we're going to make that transition. Okay, I'm going to kind of draw a line. Is our first step is we're going to distribute. So if I just copy down my problem, our first step, if you're a steps person, step 1 is going to be to distribute. So if I distribute that 5, I'm going to have y minus 4 equals 5x plus 10. And then, so that was like our step 1. And then our last step, step 2, would be to isolate the y, okay? And our way that we're going to isolate the y is we're going to get rid of that 4 on each side by adding 4, okay? So our final equation is y equals 5x plus 14, okay? So what we did, just to re-summarize, is we wrote our equation in point slope first with our given information. We used our slope, we used our point of the line, we substitute that and we get point slope form, which is right here. Then in order to convert from point slope to slope intercept, we first distribute the 5, distribute that slope, and then we're going to take this value and get rid of it by adding it to each side. And we end up with the equation y equals 5x plus 14. So these are two different ways of describing the same relationship. This is the point slope form, here's the slope intercept form. Normally I'd have us come over here and graph, but the graph I included here isn't really large enough to include that y-intercept, so we're going to skip the graphing for this first example.